Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to present a new project, which is a REST HTTP REST API client. Previously, we have a ready project, uh, ASP.NET Web API complete CRUD operation. So, using this complete CRUD operation project, so I just run the project. Let me check if we call the get all, and then we'll get the listed data, almost 1K dummy data. It's loading. Execute. So we have a ready data. So previous video we create complete ASP.web API CRUD operation project generic code. So using this project, we are going to create another new project, which is going to be client project with ASP.NET UI project. We'll yeah, choose a template MVC controller project, and we'll use a REST client, which is REST Surf using NuGet package library. So we have a model in the single project. We are going to create a new project, which is we are going to create a new entity class library project, so that this model we can use the API project and the UI project as well. So let's start. I'm going to create now new class library project so that we can we can use the model both from the API project and the UI project as well. Right click, add new project. So I'm going to select class library project, and next entity. Entity. Great. So I'm going to select .NET 7. In my local, we have other SDK as well. So I'm going to use the .NET latest version, .NET 7.0. So entity. So blank ASP.NET class library project has been created with a just sample class one. I'm going to delete it and going to create a new folder, which is models. Add new folder, models. Models. I'm going to just shift base entity and personal info to class to the entity class library project, so that we can use this common model in the API project and the client project, which is UI project as well. So let me just create first class base entity and new class. I'm just going to copy the existing class into here. Done. So we have a base entity class. I'm just going to remove unnecessary using just right click and remove unnecessary, and going to create a main class personal info class into the entity class library project. Add new class personal info class. And the personal info, I'm going to copy the personal info into here. So in the personal info class, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost 10 field. I am going to remove unnecessary using. Also, string is showing non-nullable properties. You just click into the project and remove this nullable option, so that this green field will be removed automatically. Yes, so green field has been removed automatically. I'm going to close all the open tab, and we have a ready entity class library project. I'm just going to delete the model from the API project. And if we run the project, then let me just add the class library, add project reference, entity. Okay. So we have add the class library project, and now we are going to add the reference by removing the web API code model. Remove it, and I'm going to add just, it will suggest using entity.model. using entity.model. Also error. So still error pending. We have to add the pending reference into other class as well. So I have to just replace the model by entity dot models, and into the data folder, which is data access for SQL server. I'm going to paste model and the I repository. Also, I'm going to replace other class as well. Seed data for generating a testing data. And we almost done. Close. If we're going to reveal the project again, hopefully this time I'm expecting no errors. Yes, so we have a API project and API project using the common class library project, which is entity project. Now I'm going to create a new fresh project, web API UI project, basically client. Right click and add new project, and I'm going to select MBC project, ASP.NET Web App MBC project for the UI project, client UI project. Next, and .NET 7.0, which is fine. Create. So regarding the .NET 7.0, how we are going to check .NET 7 is .NET 7.0 available in your PC, just to go to the PowerShell and type .NET slash info. Then you can see install all the SDK in your PC. So here is the listed list, and you can download the .NET SDK from the Microsoft site. Just go to the browser, .NET SDK 7.0, download. From the Microsoft website, you can download and install the .NET SDK, which is required for ASP.NET project. So we have now default template client project ready. If we are going to run the project, UI project, and let me select the client UI, and I'm just press the play button. So we have simple default project ready. Now we are going to use this project for calling the API project. So we need a NuGet package library for calling the REST API. So we are going to use most popular client, REST API client, which is the REST Surf. If I go into my browser and type REST Surf NuGet, then current version is 110.2.0, and if we go to the NuGet package library, then .NET CLI command is available. I'm just going to copy, and in my UI project, right click and open in terminal, and just paste the command. You can install this package using tools, NuGet Package Manager, PMC as well, from here. So you have two options. You can install the package RESTSurf using a terminal, also the PMC as well. So hopefully installation done, and I'm going to rebuild. So we have installed REST API client, which is REST Surf, and version is 110.2.0. Now I am going to create a client service, REST API calling client service. First, I will create a interface, and then I will implement that interface. So I'm going to create a new folder, API client. In that folder, we are going to add interface and interface implementation. Add new folder, which is API client, I'm going to create API client services, generic services, new class. So in this interface, I'm going to add four different uh, get all, get by, add, update, delete, five different method. And in the another class, we're going to implement those method. So interface API client service, make it generic, and where T extension class. So we are going to pass later T as a class. So I'm just going to add five different methods. And first one is get all, second get by, add, update, and delete. So that using this method we can perform API call. So with the help of REST sharp libraries. So we have interface. Now I'm going to implement this interface API client services. Right click, add new class API client service implementation public class. So first we have to make sure the REST client generic where the class need to extend the I interface. So we have to implement the I API client service now. I'm going to declare like REST client and base URL. So we have a complete, we have just completed implementation get all, and here is a method parameter sub URL. So in the later in the controller, we'll pass the sub URL here for the calling the API, and using this get all, we'll get complete API data from the API project, and the get by using the app ID and also the sub URL, and also add, update, and delete. So this is simple. You just copy and paste in your project. So I just make sure the iService, API client service, and interface and implementation. Now you have to now you have to make sure this interface into the program.cs file. Let me just clear the program.cs file for dependency injection. I'm going to remove the unnecessary things from the program.cs file, make it more clear and readable. So now looks okay. And I'm going to add the dependency injection builder.service, builder.service already add API controller added, add scope, type of for generic interface implementation. So you have to pass at the type of a special keyword for the generic. If it is not but like generic, then we do not require type of here. You just add that IAPI client service. So we just make sure the dependency injection here, and we have a ready service. Now I'm going to create the final things, which is personal info controller. Using this controller, we are going to display data into our view into web API UI project. So our client is ready, API client is ready. Now I'm going to create personal info controller. Add new. I'm going to copy the personal info name, personal info. Yes. And the controller, add new controller. This is MBC, empty controller, personal info controller. So we just we have now empty controller. We don't have any data here, and for viewing we have to make sure the view as well. I'm going to add personal info. Under the personal info folder, I'm going to add index and new view. Razor empty view index.cs HTML. I'm just cleaning these things. So we have to initiate the instance of the API client service here, so that using this service we can call the web API project. So before calling the web API project, we have to make sure API client services base URL. So currently it is 5186. So in the web API project, if I go into the properties, using properties, you can make sure the port number. So 5186. So if you run the project, then it will use this 5186. So port number is absolutely okay. No issue with the port number. Now I'm going to create instance API services so that you can call the service and get data. So personal info, we need to add the reference entity, which is common project for the client API and the UI project. So we have a ready instance IAPI client service. Using this instance, we are going to call the web API get all or get by. So now in this video, we are just going to call the get all and display that data into the view. So I need the sub URL now. I'm going to create a string sub URL personal info slash get all, and into the project client UI, I'm just going to remove nullable. So hopefully this time there will be no error. Not used yet. That's why it's showing a green underline. So using the API instance, I have to make sure the async in the index folder as well. So instance and get all and pass the sub URL, because personal info get all will call this API, and if we go to the API project, then definitely into the controller personal info controller we have personal info slash API get all, personal info slash get all. This API will call personal info slash get all. So member will contain one key data. So I will put debug point here and then run the project, and I will show you the one key data here. So before the running project, we have to make sure like run the API project first, then run the client project UI project. So using the terminal, I'm going to run the API project now. So right click in the API project, open in terminal, and .NET simple run, .NET run. So once API project running with the port number 56, maybe let me check again in the client 5186. Yes, 5186 and only HTTP, not HTTPS. So base URL is okay. Now, if we run this project and call this controller, I need to copy the personal info so that in the browser we can call this controller manually. Later, we'll create the view and display the data into the view. And if we run the client project now, so we have just home and privacy, and into the home, if I slash personal info enter, then it will going to the debug mode. And if we press F10, sorry, F10, somehow F10 not working. Disable or rebuild and let me run the project again. Debug, yes. Slash personal info, and I'm going to press F10 again. Yes, now this time it's working. And we have a sub URL and just using the service, it is calling the get all. And after the execution, if we check if we just check the members, then we have a count like 1000, like which is 1k data. And if we expand one row, we have a data here. So I'm just going to stop the project and to make sure the view as well. So we have a ready data. So using the client project, using common model class library project, and we are getting data from the web API project. So our mission is success. We're using the REST API client. We are going to get the data. Now our final mission is display data into the view. And if we go to the view personal info, we have a just empty indexed file. I'm now going to add the HTML code here so that we can display the data. For displaying data, I'm going to add first model I entity model dot personal info. Using this model, I'm going to display the data here. So I'm going to display like first name, last name, country, and the updated date and created date. Using for each loop, you can just display using the instance model. So model is containing this list personal info data because we are sending data like members data here. We have to make sure pass the data into the view. I'm going to take just 100 is fine, because if we're going to load 1k it will be slower. And we are just passing the data into view, and view is receiving data using into the model, and using the for each loop in the model, we are looping and displaying data id, first name, last name, country, and created date. So our view is ready. Now final things, into the shared folder, shared layout, I'm just going to add the personal info index. so that by clicking we can check the data. So privacy and personal info, and controller name personal info, and action will be index. So we are almost done. Now now I'm going to run the project final execution, which is our final part, displaying data into the view. So project is running. So we have a personal info tab right now. If I going to click this tab, then we have a list of data which is 100, because using a link I just took 100 rows. So if I going to summarize this video, so in the previous video we have details on web API generic CRUD operation. In this video we just explain entity framework core, DB connection, and the complete CRUD operation, and also the in the data folder repository. So if you have any confusion, go to this video. So we have ready web API, and in this video we just separate the model into a library project, so that we can use this model into the client project and also the UI project. Into the client project we have used a REST serve for calling the web API. So I just install the NuGet package library, which is 110.2.0. And first we just create tools service, create a interface, and then we implement the interface API client service. Using this service into the personal info controller, we are going first initiate the instance into the default constructor, and we pass the instance, and using this instance we just call the get all by passing the sub URL, and we are passing the data into the view. So into the view we have a details of personal info index, IEnumerable entity model dot personal info. We are just displaying data here. So this is the summary. If you have any confusion and if you have any question, just let me know into the comment section. I will try to reply accordingly. Also, I'm going to push this project into the GitHub, so that you can just get pull and build and run the project and get the fast things without any issue and details. But before running this project, you have to make sure some things like .NET SDK 7.0, SQL Server, and the DB connection. So into the API project, you have to make sure the DB connection here, appsetting.json, and in the program folder, I'm just pass the DB connection name, and also the port number. So if you run the API project, based on the API project, you have to pass the port number into API client services into the base URL. So currently in my local PC, it is using 5186. Based on your local, it might be changed, because if you run the API project from the terminal, it might be use 5001 or 5000. You can check the port number details into the launch setting.json file. So we have different application URL option. Here is the application URL which is passing for HTTPS, and here is the only HTTP. So I have used just 5186. And make sure you have to make sure DB connection and also the dependency injection for iRepository into API project, and into the client project API client. So we have create generic API client, and you have to pass. You have to make sure builder services. You have to add the services here. So by make sure all the required things, if you just build and run the project, then you can get the expected result into your local PC. Also, if you face any issue errors, so just ping me and let me know. I will try to help. So thank you, and hopefully see you in the next video with new topics. And just final overview, if we I'm going to run the project. So if we click the personal info, then we are going to get listed data. And how we are getting the data into the personal API controller, I'm just going to explain the flow. Into controller, personal info controller, it is calling the get all services. If we go to the definition, go to implementation, then it is using the get all REST API services. So in the get all, or in the default constructor, we are just initiate the REST client, and using this REST client, or by passing the base URL, it is executing the result, get all result. And here is the sub URL. We just make sure the personal info slash get all, and it is calling the personal info slash get all. If we you have to go to the web API controller project, and it is calling this. So this is the overall summary. So I'm just closing this video. Thank you, and see you in the next video. And I'm going to post this project into the GitHub. So, and also share the GitHub link so that you can download. Thank you.